Join with me, Danny Barker of the Cinematic Mind, and Angus Davidson as we do a double review of survival film Everest and the recent James Bond, Spectre.
So, first thing we should talk about is, the story, narrative. Let's talk about that. Okay, so the narrative for the Everest is quite interesting because it has a lot of complex elements in it in terms of the characters, but in terms of the actual story, it is quite simple.
Yes. Survival film Everest is based from the real events of the 1996 Mount Everest disaster. It focuses on two expedition groups. One commercial group led by Rob Hull, portrayed by Jason Clarke, and the other by Scott Fitzchester, Jake Gyllenhaal, climbing to the peak of Everest until an intense storm approaches. I thought it was a real, genuine, intense, true story.
Did I like it? I don't know. It was, because of course it is about the true story, so they can't obviously alter it, but in terms of how they gave it.
Yes, I think in terms of accuracy and artistic creativity, most importantly, you have to...
I think they would have had to do a lot for the screenplay as well. They would have had to do
I would have thought so, especially for all the multiple characters and basically because it focuses on these two expedition groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Characters are set by Rob Hull, portrayed by Jason Clarke, who is basically, we see him at the beginning of the film, basically with his family and then going on this mountaineering expedition to Everest. As what's interesting is in the narrative terms, it begins at his house with his family and then it goes all the way to the airport where they meet up with the group.
So it's a slow build up.
I would describe that. And there we meet up with the other major group led by Jake Gyllenhaal's character, and it basically begins after around 40
It's a slow start. It's a slow start, which is again kind of what I didn't like about. Again, we'll get into like the goods and bads about it later.
Then we meet up with the main base, which is led by Emily Watson's character, who basically tells us what to expect on this expedition.
Yeah.
And they basically prepare for it, doing a few days training in preparation for Everest. As they are climbing to the top of Everest, they then discover that a ferocious storm is now about to approach on their way.
And of course they're fucking idiots. So because they're just
no, they're not idiots. It's just they didn't expect it.
I think they're pretty stupid because they basically get a report from the base saying you need to get out of there because there's a storm coming in. It's serious. And then obviously one of the characters like, can we go get a picture at the top?
Well, at least is it?
Yeah, well, not like that, but it's kind of given that like he wants to get to the summit. Of course, he spent a lot of money. He's spent time training, all that crap, trying to get to the top.
Yeah.
And obviously he gets, 3/4 of the way, and he wants to get to the top. The guy says to him, turn around, we've got to go.
Yes.
And what do? They go up to the top because...
Well, they needed to.
They needed to.
Well, that guy
wanted to.
He wanted to go up there.
He wanted
to see the satisfaction of just going to the top.
Of course, as
the peak,
as you'll find out in the film. Would this be a spoiler? I don't know. As you find out in the film... as you find out in the film, it costs their life. Yeah, pretty much. That one decision of deciding to go up instead of turning back for safety takes their life.
Yes.
And they're fucking idiots, and it's funny to see. It's funny. It's funny to see.
Idiots.
I think they are. I think they are stupid because it's always about safety first, especially on Everest.
Well, they might have chose to go on Everest for basically, like one of them has basically been alive doing mountaineering, and she wants to complete that by doing Everest. Yeah. That's a good reason. I really love the cinematography.
For this film, yeah.
I thought it really had a lot of wide shots of how bold Everest was. It's like its movie, of course. It just showcases how intense climbing Everest is, all the way to its peak, where when the ferocious storm approaches, it just becomes so vulnerable to these characters. And because of the way it's shot, it really grabs the audience attention in that situation.
I did like it, but again, it's about the number of shots, like the type of shots they did. I really liked the shots they did. Yeah. But the POV shots, the first person shots.
Well, there was definitely POV shots.
I really wish they did more because it was so good. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
There was POV shots though.
There was. Yeah. But they weren't that interesting. Like for example, the POV shots was when they weren't in the crisis, but rather when they were actually going to the top. I wish there were more POV shots when everything sort of fucked up, because that would have firstly been more interesting, and secondly it just would have been more immersive. I think they did leave it out for the IMAX experience.
It's definitely suited for IMAX.
For IMAX.
And judging it for IMAX perspectives, it really, really succeeds well. As for 2D and home distribution, however, I guess it will still hold up. It's just mainly for... So I guess it's sort of the, the montage of them getting there and then some of the shots when they first actually see Everest.
Yeah, and the 3D as well. What do you think of that? I thought it didn't really work. It just didn't. I'm not sure if that was because of the budget, because the producers, or just because of the film.
Well, it's not going to be easy to film on
Everest. It's hard to get 3D right.
Well, again, this was filmed on Everest, so again, this wasn't an easy production history to do, considering that this is Everest we're speaking about within the cold temperatures.
Yeah.
The most important thing that I definitely recognised from this film was the sound design. The fantastic. Sound design really catches the cold.
That was sort of one of the main features. It was cinematography and sound editing.
Yes.
Sound editing, yeah.
I was definitely most impressed with the sound editing the most.
Yeah. That was a real solid micro feature that sort of made its experience that much better.
Yes.
Especially in IMAX.
Definitely.
Especially in IMAX. That was a real...
It definitely chilled me up. But I would like to speak about the score, interesting enough.
Score. Yeah. I mean...
It's surfable, I guess. Surfable.
I kind of think I need to listen to it again.
I need to listen to that one again.
To make my final judgment about it.
Yeah. I think it's mainly for the ending though.
But generally, it was good. Okay, so good and bads. Now this is interesting because I didn't like the film overall. You did.
I did.
Did you love it?
I would say I liked it to an extent, as I say, because the only things that did bother me was the pacing, but not for the most of the film. It was mainly towards the ending. Yeah. Because while giving much to away, of course, it's bizarre because it ends up sort of ending at a more anticlimactic end, as I can say. Well, again, without giving much to away, it sort of ends anticlimactically, sort of nicely, I guess.
Yeah.
Without giving much away what really happens. But that's the only thing that kind of bothered me about the film, mainly.
Only thing that bothered you.
Yeah.
But there are lots of things that you did love. What were the things that you loved?
I did think the film truly captured this survival film on Everest perfectly well for what it does.
What about in terms of like a disaster film? Do you think that
as a disaster film, it's definitely better than the majority of disaster films I've seen, because again, most disaster films aren't genuine disaster films, they're more like action movies.
Did you like 2012? I loved 2012. I thought that was on point.
I didn't care for the characters, you see.
I love 2012.
I don't care for the characters.
That didn't bother me at all.
Here's the thing, with those types of disaster movies, you got to care for the characters. Go watch Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. Why do those films still work besides the effects? You at least care about some of the characters. In 2012, no, it's just generic stock characters.
That's funny because I didn't really give a shit
you
about
didn't
the characters.
care for the
I
characters.
didn't give a fuck whether they were dead or not.
Tell me you liked one. Tell me you liked one.
I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's alright.
He's cool.
Yeah. Clark.
Emma Watson, please.
Emma Watson. I'm going to say no on that.
No.
I mean,
I don't agree.
That's why it's a good clash, because you did love it and I found it disappointing, and that was specifically because of the characters.
Of course,
I just didn't give a fuck whether they were dead or not. Like, they were slowly dying, and I was I was kind of seeing it as the horror style. I was like, I was wonder who's next, rather than they're dead. That sucks. I mean,
yeah, I guess
it's just because I kind of got to a point where I found it funny because they were fucking idiots.
No,
I mean,
they weren't.
Of course.
Only one or two was.
It was part of the disaster film, and they couldn't really do anything about it. But it's because I've done climbing before.
Yeah.
And if you are in danger and you think that you are at risk, you turn back every time. Because I've been in situations where I've been up half a mountain and we've had to turn around because some of them turned around. Yeah, some of them died, and it cost their life. Yeah, but and they're fucking idiots.
It's gonna take hours to get back to their base.
That's true, but it doesn't matter. If you're in danger, you don't go up. Of course, I know. You go down. And that
I do think
that's kind of why I lost
it. A survival film like this, I think the most definitive would definitely have to be Touching the Void. The documentary Touching the Void, which I think definitely sets the bar as the most gripping survival film of its type.
Yeah.
In the mountain setting, I would say.
This is probably one of the things I also didn't like about it. I felt it really dragged on. I
know they definitely were going to do a build-up.
It went on
I know they were
much.
definitely not going to jump you right into Everest, of course, because it's about getting from basically their starting point, basically training, pieing, Everest,
But one of the things that did work is just the cinematic style. It was so cinematic. That was why it was...
What was cinematic? How do you define
the whole cinematic? Okay, so in terms of the editing, like for example, I'd say Harry Potter is very cinematic.
Of course it is, yes.
It's sort of the style they give it, sort of, there's a very distinctive colour code. Like, for example,
you mean the colour grading?
Like, so for example, Harry Potter's quite dark as you sort of evolve into the films.
It's a mixture of dark, it's like a mixture of darkish.
This is kind of the same way as well.
Yeah, because it's definitely at the beginning. It's more brighter.
Yeah,
it's more showing.
And it gets more dark, and that I just
colder.
felt. Yeah,
I'd say colder light feel.
And and that's why like for example, how else to say cinematic? Inception, for example.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, for example, Inception. Of course, all the the awesome shots, the wide angle shots, just all of it put together.
I definitely noticed you wanted more close-ups.
I wanted more close-ups, and I wanted more POV shots.
Yes,
that I wanted more of those. Especially when they're falling down. That would have been brilliant.
No, I wanted to sort of see more about them trying to get down, but I don't know, because again, it's based on a true story. Of course, they do have to accurately represent
exactly
the tragedies of it. Again, without giving much away.
Yeah.
Cold, chilled from it all. I did enjoy the acting.
The acting was
mainly from Jason Clarke, Josh Brolin, and Emily Watson. Keira Knightley, even though her character, as I would say, was very brief, she actually did a very decent performance.
Yeah. They were pretty decent. Yeah, they were pretty on point.
So in conclusion,
I'd probably give it a 6.9. That is quite low if you if you give it to my reviews. So for example, I'd probably gave Divergent 7 out of 10. Would I say Divergent's better? Yes, in some ways. In others, no. Just overall, I found it disappointing. It's just because there were too many things where I had so many expectations and it didn't give those. That's why.
For me, I would sort of give it around 7 and 8.
7 and 8
stars, where I would say it's a genuine, chilling mountain survival film that gripped me throughout.
So what? So 7.5, you would say?
Around that point, yes.
What would you say? Closer to 8?
As I loved it, I would say 8.
Close to
definitely
8. So that's your review. Okay, so that is our review of Everest. Of course, we will be doing a Spectre review as well. And of course, if you want to check out our review that we've done previously of The Martian, then you can also check that out. I will attach both our links below. But apart from that, thank you for watching.
Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
And it's actually entirely on Earth, and it completely...
Mostly.
It sort of tricks you, where this literally goes back and forth, and it does it really well. Really well.
And I think it's really interesting because... Join us with me, this Danny Barker of the Cinematic Mind, and Angus Davidson as we do a double review of survival film, Basically, the story is about the 1996 disaster on Everest. No. That does not sound right.
You really did not that. No.
Right. You know, I have a feeling we might as well just put clips over the damn thing.
Yeah.
So let's just try that. If this doesn't go well, I'll basically just read the whole synopsis instead.
Try it.
Basically cut with a clip. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I got a good line. Don't worry.
Right, and then of course, so we don't have to worry about pressing it over it. Okay. So you speak first. Just say anything. This is a test for the microphone.
Testing.
1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Join us with me, the Cinematic Mind, and Angus Davidson for... Okay, that was good, actually, so far.
That was.
That was really good.
Right.
Cheap coat there.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here we go.
Okay. So.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Join us, the Cinematic Mind, and Angus Davidson as we do a double review of survival film Everest and the recent James Bond film Spectre.
Lovely. So obviously, we can obviously relax. Obviously, I'm gonna have to stand here and hold that for ages. So obviously, I'll do what I did last time. I'll cut out the intro. Yeah. Sorry, I'll do that. What you just done. Do the intro.
Yeah.
And then what are we gonna start with? Right. Story.
Oh bollocks.
Should we start with story?
Should we do that? Take again.
Do you want to do that again?
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, okay. we're doing the intro right, and we're already making mistakes. We're gonna have a really...
I did so well, though.
We're gonna have a really long, behind the scenes.
Oh, no.
Right.
I was so close. Right.
Okay, we can get this right.
Join with me, Danny Barker of the Cinematic Mind, and Angus Davidson as we do a double review of survival film Everest and the recent James Bond, Spectre.
Yeah. Bloody, you forgot that we're doing a review of Everest. Because when you said Everest, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing a review of Everest. But to be fair, we are actually doing a review of Everest on its own. So do you think we should do that one more time? Because you said Spectre as well.
Yeah.
I mean...
No, let's just...
It's just because it's just like an independent one, and then we're going to have to like pretend that we're doing Spectre like a different video.
Okay, so. How should we put it? Should we just take the Spectre, or should we just leave the...
leave out Spectre.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. No.
Should I do it?
No, let me do it. Join us with Danny Barker of the Cinematic Mind and Angus Davidson as we do true story survival film Everest.
What you did, I was like, of Everest. Yes.
I still feel like I did very well there. Well, any pauses?
You did. Okay.
Right. Hold on. I've got to read this now.
Come towards me, but yeah, that's fine.
Hold on. I have to remember the bloody... So, film Everest was based on the real events of the 1960s. Oh God, this is going to be a lot to remember now. Focus on 2 expeditions groups, 1 commercial group. Right. I'm going to have to just basically do it in sentence, sorry.
That's fine.
Right. I have to do 2 sentences. Survival film Everest is based from the I keep forgetting words. I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'll flow it in.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about. Well, fuck. I say now let's talk about, because this is going to be the next clip after the intro. Trying to think what I was going to say.
And the other by Scott Fish. We're going to have to do another take of that.
No, go halfway, because that was a good start. Okay. Because we can edit that shit out.
Okay, Scott Risking Their Lives.
It's good enough.
It's good enough. Fuck it. Basically,
yeah.
Well, and then basically.
Said basically so many times. I mean, to be fair, I do it a lot in my videos as well.
I don't like that word.
Basically, and it's easy to do. It's just yeah, and then there's few doing it for money and money. What is it with movies doing that? I never. Okay, at least they're real though, real people, so it's not like. Right. So, fuck it. I don't even need to worry about that. Okay.
What else?
I'm trying to think. Did we have a? Yeah, we did. Let's look at the order.
Microfeatures.
Right. That's fine. Okay. So let's reorder. Let's get back to. It was good enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. What was the next thing? Yeah. Let's get the script up. Actually.
It is good and bad.
Have we talked about enough about microfeatures?
Well, we did mention editing
and cinematography
and sound editing.
Do we need to talk about anything else?
Score.
I don't think we do. Do we need to talk about anything else instead of microfeatures? I don't think so.
Lighting, I guess. I don't know.
Lighting? Nah. Well, I think because we kind of want to, instead of make it like a really fucking long discussion, we kind of want to keep it snappy.
Of course. And it basically next says good and bad.
Right, good and bad.